yoga for years, and I've used it every day of my life to make my body feel better. Now, what makes yoga a little bit different than other types of exercise is it combines a few elements. One, the breath is super important. Now, that's going to help you relax, and it's going to help your body do the things that we're asking your body to do. The second thing are the muscles that we're going to contract to help you stabilize. I'll talk about your core muscles and also some of your big arm and leg muscles, but we're going to hold those tight while we're working. And the third thing is the way that you stare. In yoga, we call it your drishti, but I'm just going to say stare at this one point. So it's important that your eyes are focused, you're using your breath, and then we're contracting the muscles, and that's going to help really clear your mind. So we'll go ahead and get started. What I thought we would do today is that I know a lot of students are sitting like this. You're on your computer and the front part of your body is starting to feel a little closed off. So we're going to open that up. So there are a few pieces of equipment that you might want to use. You don't necessarily have to have it, but I like to use some yoga blocks. These are also the same size as books, so you can use books. I like to use a strap. You can use a belt. You can use a scarf. A mat is nice because we're going to be on our knees, maybe on our elbows. You don't want anything to hurt, so maybe you walk on carpet, or maybe you put a pillow under your knees. Use whatever you have just so you feel comfortable. Nothing should hurt. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to break down warrior one. So I like to start with your legs kind of in a straddle position, because what you want to feel is the outside edge of your pinky toe pressing down. I'm going to turn my right foot and bend the knee so the right knee is over the ankle. I have my feet wide enough that I'm not going to fall over. So it's more like you're on train tracks instead of a tightrope. Turn your hips so that they face your foot. This is what the bottom half of your body looks like. You don't want a big arch in your back. You want your tailbone tucked a little bit. You're constantly pressing against that pinky edge side of your left toe. And then lift your arms. Your arms can be in so many different ways. And now to transition from a warrior one to a warrior two is super easy. You just open your arms. My legs didn't move. Look over your pinky, your middle finger, your pinky, your ring finger. Just let your gaze be soft. And then keeping your legs just like they are, we're just moving our upper body at the waist. We can go back, we can go forward, we can fall. I do it all the time. Just come right back to it. Coming back to the warrior two. So downward facing dog is, it's just an upside down V. A lot of times we'll use it as a resting pose between poses, so you want to make sure that you're not having a lot of pressure on your wrists. You come to all fours, flip your toes, and you're just going to lift your hips up. Your knees may stay bent, that's fine. Let your head rest and be soft. Take your gaze somewhere between your thighs, and then as you keep pressing your hips back, your heels may come down, your legs may straighten, but keep pulling your hips away from your head, giving yourself some space so your shoulders aren't around your ears. You want it to be nice and soft, but pressing into your hands, keeping that gaze nice and soft. Again, if you feel this in your wrist, another modification, which is a nice one, is if you have blocks or any books, just put your hands on the blocks and come into that upside down V with your hands a little bit higher and maybe your knees bent. So we're going to start working on our breath. Come to a comfortable seated position. Your legs can be crossed, they can be sitting out, whatever works for you. You're going to inhale and exhale through your nose only. Unless you're stopped up, then you can use your mouth, it's fine. But try just inhaling and exhaling through your nose with your lips together and your teeth a little bit apart. We're going to keep that breath for every pose, but I want you to take your hands to your back. Make your back as long as you can and try to breathe into this part of your back. Come to your knees and just be on your shins. Take your hands into your back pockets if you had back pockets, and we're going to stretch out this front part of our body. So press your toes into the mat, press your hands into your pockets, and pull your elbows together, pull your shoulder blades together, and start to look up. All the muscles should be contracting towards the middle of your body, and the front part of your body is getting nice and long. Feel it getting taller, just inhaling and exhaling through your nose. And we're going to go into what's called child's pose. Take your hands out in front of you and just let your body come down between your knees. Now, if that isn't comfortable, you can take your blocks, the book, and put your hands on the block and your head on the block. As you're inhaling and exhaling through your nose, nice, long, deep breaths. Let your spine get long, so your tailbone is pulling away from your head. And now stretch the sides of our body. Let your hands walk over to the right, and maybe let your left hand come onto your right hand. And just breathe here. So your muscles aren't relaxing, they're pulling away from each other. Your hand is pulling away from your head. And then walk back to center and go all the way to the other side. So I'm getting this big stretch, the C curve from my hip all the way to my pinky. Come up to all fours. So you're on your hands and your knees. Again, if this isn't comfortable, you can put a pillow or something underneath your knees. Come to a flat back. Curl your spine up like a Halloween cat and let your gaze come to your belly button. Press into the mat. Tighten all your muscles. Maybe take your hips back. Get a little deeper stretch. Come back to a flat back. And now we're going to let your stomach come down, let your hips lift up. So you're coming into like what a milk cow would look like. So it's almost like a U shape. Eyes looking up, tailbone lifting, and just slow your breath. And now we're just going to do this one inhale and one exhale at a time. So exhale all your air, come into the cat pose, and then inhale into cow. And continue this, inhaling and exhaling at your own pace, really using the floor as some leverage. So pressing into your hands, pressing into your knees and your feet. We're going to stretch this front part of our hips. It really gets closed off when we're seated. Make sure that you're tightening all these muscles in your low belly and that you're breathing into this back part. So we're going to start with our right knee in front. You can have your back toes flat or you can flip them. It doesn't matter. You want your knee lined up right over your ankle and try to get your hips even so they're pointing directly over your knee in the same direction. Hands on your knee, lift your chest up, and start to come forward. Now your knee is going to go over your ankle, but that's okay because we're super stable. Squeezing everything to the midline. And now just hold it here. And breathe. Take your shoulders back. You should feel a big stretch in this left front hip flexor. And now take your arms up, really squeezing towards the midline and start to bring your pinkies like they're almost coming together. Take your shoulders back. And then grabbing your left wrist, start to pull yourself over. So I'm going to turn so you can see this from the front. You're just getting this nice long stretch from your knee to your wrist. Pressing into that back foot so there's no pressure in your lower back. Come back up. Get your stability. And then back to your knees, and we'll just do the other side. So left foot in front. Get your alignment. Hands on your knee. Right hip toes flipped or have them flat. Take your shoulders back and just come forward. And as you press your toes, your knees into the mat, you start to feel an opening right in this front part of your hip. Make sure that you're lifting so you don't get an arch in your low back. Slow your breath and just let your focus be soft. Your eye gaze looking in front. This really helps to calm and settle your mind. And then arms up, shoulders back. Only going as far as you start to feel a stretch and it's comfortable. No need to overdo it. And then grabbing that right wrist, pulling over, just increasing the stretch even more. Take your arms right by your ribs. Have your chin on the floor, press your toes into the mat, and then lift your chin, pulling your elbows back. Almost like how a grasshopper would look. Opening up your chest, and then come down. For the next one, we're going to straighten our arms. So press into your arms, lifting all the way up, feeling your chest open. Let your gaze look up. Keep your focus soft. Press into your toes. You should feel a big stretch in the front part of your body. And now let your knees touch the ground. Flip your toes. We're going to come into a downward facing dog. This is just an upside down knee. Press your hips back. Make sure your fingers are spread wide. So 5 fingers spread out like spiders. If your knees are bent, that's completely fine. Bending them deep sometimes feels so good on that low back. Look to the front of the mat and start walking your feet about halfway up the mat. Bend your knees, grab your opposite elbows, and just come into a forward fold. Rocking side to side. If you feel like your body is more like a U shape, bend your knees even more. Take your left hand to the ground or to a block or a hook. Bend your left knee and lift your right arm up. This opens up your chest again. Slow your breath in and out through your nose. Imagine that I'm lifting your hand up to the ceiling. And now just switch sides. So take your right hand to the ground or a block, bend your right knee, lifting the left arm. Come into a wide leg straddle position, and I want you to feel the outside edges of your pinky toes pressing into the mat.